Hands angle there, nice kick.
Here comes Jordan
come back with those hands again.
Hey yo, it's your boy Shane here. Before we start today's episode, we have a new sponsor on board. So getting behind the Combat Chat podcast now is Manscaped, who are the best in the world for men's below the waist grooming. Their products are precision engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped's performance package, the ultimate men's hygiene bundle, is here. Join over 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you. 20% off and free shipping worldwide with the code COMBATCHAT, all one word. If my maths correct, that's about 8 million balls. Okay, fellas, let's be honest. There's always that story of us trying to trim the hedges, mow the lawn when in the younger days, but even probably now, because we don't want anything scraggly down here. We don't want our budgie smugglers to look like they're tarantula smugglers. Okay, we've got to keep it fresh. Okay, and this is where the lawnmower 4.0 comes in place, and I've used it myself, and it's great. I got nothing but good things to say about it, actually. So, I'm going to kind of keep everything pristine from now on because Manscaped's on board. And it doesn't stop there. You also got the Weed Whacker, which is good for the nose hairs, the ears hairs. You also have the ball deodorant, the ball toner. So after you smooth it and kind of moisturize them with them, they're going to be smooth as eggs. Who doesn't want to touch them after that? For real. So in saying that, it's time to take care of yourself. Go to manscaped.com and get 20% off and free shipping with the code COMBATCHAT, all one word. So remember, to get 20% off, free worldwide shipping, put in Combat Chat in at manscaped.com. And remember, unlock your confidence and always use the right tools with the job with Manscaped. Hey, yo, your boys are back again.
Back.
But are we here? As the recording goes?
Maybe a week for you, 1 minute for us.
That's it. It's all good. So look, so this rebellion probably just would have happened if you're listening to this right now.
Yes.
That's this, and obviously we all got W's. We're all winners.
Yes.
That's what we're
celebrating.
That's it. But we do have a guest online at the moment from here. So yeah, and it's really excited to have this guest as well. So she's a female fighter that's fighting out of Singha Muay Thai in Phuket. She's ranked #1 in the WBC Muay Thai. She's a PK1 world champion. One of the first female fighters ever to fight in Lumpinee. It is Celest Hansen. How are you today?
Very good. Thanks for having me, guys.
That's great. Yeah, really appreciate you spending a bit of time with us. So look, the first thing we always ask people that come into this podcast is, what was your Muay Thai origin story? So what kind of drove you into the sport to begin with?
Funny you actually asked that. Someone called me fat, and then I went to a gym to lose some weight, and they offered boxing, and I was like, oh, well, I'd always dreamt of being like a famous boxer, but my family, they do traveling work. So we live in a caravan, we're mobile, and we can't do any sports. And then I was like, oh, can I please try the boxing? They're like, oh, we don't have it now. It's Muay Thai. And I was like, oh, well, I've been to Thailand on a holiday and watched Muay Thai. I was sick. I'll try it. And then I was hooked from the start. And I said, can I fight? And they're like, oh, well, you have to train for at least 6 months to learn how to protect yourself. And I'm like, well, I have to travel to the next place. I'm not going to have time to do that. And they're like, well, bad luck. And I was like, oh, do you know anywhere in Thailand? And then, yeah, I just ended up in Thailand and never left.
When was that? When did you first start training in Thailand?
It was I think it was 2016, so 6 years ago.
Yeah, it's it's an interesting a lifestyle. I never knew anyone that's as a traveler from there, with the carnivals and that. So when you first experienced that, what town were you in?
I was in Sydney, so I tried a gym in Mount Druitt called Just Fit, I think. I'm not sure, it's closed now.
Yeah, it's when you got from training in Muay Thai and then just making the decision to go to Thailand from there, was the plan to live in Thailand at the time, or was it just to have that experience of Muay Thai again?
I was very young at the time, so I don't know really what I was going to do in my life, but yeah, I would have liked to have stayed in Thailand. I have.
It's so when you first went to Thailand, so what was your first initial experiences there, and when you started training, where was it, what was the goals to begin with?
So I came in 2016, but I'd went as a tourist in 2013, but that was purely just as tourism.
Yeah.
But I watched a fight at Bengal Stadium. I don't know if you guys been to Phuket, but it's like the main stadium in Phuket.
Yeah.
And I watched a girl fight, and I was like, oh my God, like I was in such awe. Like it was just amazing. But, you know, after that, I never really thought about it again. And then in 2016, I came to Koh Samui at Lumpinee Muay Thai. And I stayed.
Cool.
I stayed there for about 1.5 years. And then, I had moved to Phuket, and I've been here for maybe 5 years.
But was that like a sort of calculated decision going to Phuket, or you kind of just drifted over there and you liked it?
Well, I was in Koh Samui. It was very small. There wasn't so much opportunity. And I just outgrew it. So then I came to Phuket. There's a lot more people to train with, a lot more gyms, a lot more stadiums, and just a lot more opportunity. Like I love it.
Yeah, like when you moved, I guess, traveling Thailand more so from there. How did you find the culture? Like, from how you're living in Australia before to just really basing yourself out of Thailand. Was it an easy transition, or did you find some kind of like culture shocks you had to go through?
I've previously thought about this question, and for myself, I didn't really find a culture shock, as my lifestyle is traveling, so it is very different.
Yeah,
and I am meeting all different people all the time, so I feel like I'm very easily adaptable to situations. So for me, it was fine. It was another place.
And given that you mentioned you'd had a look at Muay Thai over in Thailand as a tourist, and then you tried it out at home for some fitness and ended up going all in on trying to get a little bit more time with it. Was training in Thailand full-time what you expected? Did it come with some surprises? Like, did you kind of get what you bargained for when it came to setting up shop over there, or was it a bit different to what you were expecting?
Well, I didn't really have any expectations, because before Muay Thai, before coming here, I'd never done any physical activity, nothing. I couldn't even freaking walk 100 meters. Like, so my expectations, that there was none, so they couldn't be, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it was like my starting point, which is actually amazing, because I mean,
that's a good place to be. Yeah,
you start in Thailand, like you can learn here, so it's just normal to me.
Well, I suppose you can ask the same question in reverse. Like, have you had a closer look at training in sort of back in Australia or in the Western world generally, and what's the comparison like to you? Or
okay, this would make a lot more sense to me. Yes. Training in Australia, obviously people in Australia have jobs and families and a life outside of Muay Thai. So your whole life is not Muay Thai, and the training is like probably 80% less. I'm not talking bad about Australia, by the way. This is just what I thought.
Yeah.
It's just very different. Whereas in Thailand, like my whole life revolves around training. Eat, sleep, train, repeat. Literally, there's nothing. I literally do nothing else. I have no life outside of training.
And that is kind of, a lot of fighters talk about that being the dream, but of course doesn't come without complications too. You deal with any degree of sort of burnout. How do you manage that kind of side of it?
Oh, absolutely. I've been burnt out many of times. So basically, when I get burnt out, and then like I'll stop Muay Thai, because I'm like, oh my God, like even if it's from a few losses, and I'm like, should I quit? Blah, blah, blah. But then I'm even more sad when I stop. So then I come back to reality, and I think I need to balance my life out. Like, yes, I can be all in for Muay Thai, but I need to find things outside of training that I love, so I can get that balance. Where in Australia, maybe people, they do have balance, like they have lives out of, so they don't get burnout as much, I guess.
Yeah, there's kind of that perspective that comes from, I mean, I suppose what you deal with, like you mentioned, your life kind of revolves around it. Like, and we talked to, I think this is like a sentiment that Jay brought up, come back to training in Australia. He said, from shifting to that mentality, when you work all day, you get to go and train, like you're excited about it. It's that perspective. Whereas when it's all day, every day, possibly it can become a little bit daunting and all consuming, possibly.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, in Australia, maybe you hate your job. So then when you come to Muay Thai, you love it. Yeah, but I guess in Thailand, everything's about
job,
training.
right?
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, I do love training, but maybe some people hate it, and I just
Mm-hmm. So like Muay Thai over there, like living there at the moment, is it just fighting that's like your pay packet that's keeping you there, or do you have like an outside, like, you know, kind of businesses that
side hustle?
Yeah, to get you going.
I do some. Muay Thai is the main thing, yes, and I have some sponsors. I'm lucky enough that help me out every now and then.
We love that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's
He sounds suspicious at the suggestion of a side hustle.
Recently, I don't know if you're referring to what I've recently been posting or not.
I haven't checked what you recently been posting. Now I have to go back and look at what you've been posting. But I'm always interested because like just for me, because I've never really experienced it, like, you know, just living in Thailand, like fight by fight. It just seems like it's a really like interesting prospect, almost like a bit of a romantic prospect as well. Like, I live in Thailand, I fight from there, like, you know, I don't have to do much else. But like I imagine it also be stressful also at times.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the pay packet is like nothing, and then you're paying for your own flights, hotel, taxi, everything out of your pay packet, and it's so little that you end up having to pay to fight sometimes.
Yeah,
but I mean, it's worth it. And I mean, this Road to One, the contract is, if when you win, is 3.6 million baht. So I mean, it is worth it. Like in the long run. I mean, it's been 7 years coming of being poor, but it'll pay off. But no, my side hustle. Some people ask me for pictures, and some girls say no. That I'm like, they're just gonna go on your profile and look at it anyway. Why not just send them?
I'm completely on board with that. Monetize.
Of course, why not? It's
absolutely.
Most of you chumps are out here posting on Instagram for free.
Man,
literally, why not?
We have to pay.
I don't make.
Yeah. People offer to pay me to post less.
I'll take it. Take what you can get.
Of course. So can you give us a little bit insight in terms of like for Muay Thai? So like we talked to guests before, like, you know, like because it's predominantly males, like, you know, there's like, you know, levels you have to go for. You have to fight on the festival shows, you have to fight on these ones, so to progress your way through. How does it actually look on the female side of things? What are the pathways, if there is any?
God. So when I started in Thailand, when I came to Thailand, there was just nothing for women. Like, you could fight maybe at the local festival. You'd probably be the first fight and nothing else. Like, there was no, there was very little females on TV, but there was no, like, the biggest TV show was Max Muay Thai, and they forbidden women to fight there. Lumpinee, Rajadam, like, you'd say you want to fight there, and the Thai trainers would laugh at you. You know, there's signs there saying women cannot touch the ring. There was just no opportunity for women, and I was always spoken down to. I was told women cannot fight, they're shit, they're not strong. I'd ask promoters to fight, and they'd say women are not entertaining, and it just went on. And at that point in my life, I was like, it's going to be my goal to not let women ever feel like this, and create, you know, equality and give opportunity to women, because we train just as hard. Their fights are just as entertaining. Yes, of course, there's people that are not so good, but they've either not had experience. There's males that are like that.
There's a lot of men that are very good too.
Exactly. So give women the opportunity, and then they can get better. And then, like, you know, and definitely now he has a lot more opportunity.
It's an interesting one, because for a long time, you know, for whatever reason, there was really no opportunities. But now that you look at a couple of shifts have made everything very entertainment focused in Thailand, and one of the key ways they're really trying to like pump the gas on that is banking on women's fights. Like, when we've got like One Championship's the same, like a lot of their biggest investments on the Super Series side are female fights. In terms of trying to get more eyeballs on the sport, both Rajadamnern and Lumpinee now, not just allowing women to fight, but it's becoming a centerpiece.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's the golden era for women now.
You think, yeah, that's
Yeah,
good to
absolutely.
see. Yeah.
Mhm. So like going into that, so like one of your fights, I guess it goes down as like a bit of a historic landmark. How did it come about to be like one of the first women to fight in Lumpinee?
Yeah. So I'd went on Facebook and there was news saying Lumpinee were having discussions about having women. And I was like, this is it. This is my dream. I've been dreaming. I knew it was coming. So I messaged the boss of the gym and I sent it to him. I said, whatever you do in life, please, I have to be the first ever female to fight there. And he's like, okay, we'll do it. So he messaged them and he said, all right, yeah, we're going to be the first women to ever fight there. And this was during COVID. So Lumpinee Stadium was closed. And then I went on Facebook and there was a match between two Thai women scheduled to be at Lumpinee. I said to the boss, I was like, what do you mean? You said I was going to be the first woman. And I was like, it's fine, actually. It's two Thais. They deserve it. It's their country. Like, it's their history. Absolutely. And then he was like, I'll make you the first foreigner. And then that fight happened, but it was in the car park
In
at
the car
Lumpinee
park,
Stadium.
yeah.
And then the next scheduled bout was a foreigner and a Thai. And I said to the boss, I was like, well, now I can't be the first foreigner. And that was in the car park. And my fight was next. And they're like, oh, Celeste, your fight's been postponed 2 or 3 weeks. We're going to be moving into the stadium. And I was like, oh my God, so much. And that's how it happened.
Just as a side note, remember those Lumpinee car park fights? Because it was in lockdown and they had like the green screen around the ring and the crowd was on Zoom.
Yeah, like all the Zoom people in the back.
What a strange time.
Oh,
It was a very strange time.
it was just like a psychedelic nightmare at times.
Yeah.
Looking back at it. But hey, you had to do what you had to do back then, though, isn't it?
Yeah, of course, worked out to get you first cab off the rank for female fights in the main stadium. Describe that experience. What did it feel like?
And like I appreciate and love every single second of it. But at the time, I mean, it did feel like just another fight.
Yeah.
Because it's just a fight, you know. But when they told me it was 3 rounds, and then I was in the ring, you know, 3 rounds is entertainment, go, go, go. So if you fought like that in 5 rounds, obviously you're going to lose because the scoring is completely different. And then after the 3rd round, I was like, all right, sweet. Like I went forward, job's done. They're like, sit back down. I was like, what do you mean? They're like, it's 5 rounds. And I said, oh, are you fucking serious? You lied to me. Yeah. And then I was like seriously like screaming in the corner. And then even my boss was. And then they were like, all right, then we did it again. I lost. But it was just so funny. Like, did they plan that so the Thai could win? I don't freaking know. But yeah, the historic moment of that was fucking sick. Like, I loved it. Like, I'm so grateful. It was amazing. Because
it was like a whole new era. It wasn't just you know, that they were allowing female fighters. You know, the stadium had been revamped. It was all like super different. Yeah, so there was no crowd. So maybe that's where I didn't feel like Lumpinee. Everything was completely different. Like they cut off half of the stadium so they could put like lights and stuff. Yeah. And make it like a TV show. Yeah. Yeah. So it was a bit different, but I mean, nonetheless, like it was sick. Bucket list stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So what's the general feel in Thailand at the moment? Because like it seems to be we're getting this shift. Yeah. It's like, the women are allowed to be more involved as they should. Foreigners are getting more opportunities in the stadiums as well. What's the vibe feeling over there with like all these new changes happening in the big stadiums?
It just gradually happens. So I feel like it feels natural, but I mean, by like maybe if you weren't here, it would feel like very different. But I guess it feels sick because you know you can make it. You know, like there's nothing holding you back anymore. And I mean, especially for everyone. Yeah, for someone such as yourself that's been there a long time, do you now feel like opportunity is more plentiful than it's ever been? Like, does the ceiling feel much higher? Yeah, absolutely. I feel like I can make it. You know, any goal I have, I can do it. Like, there's nothing holding me back anymore. I like that.
Yeah, most definitely. So, like, from that fight now and like how you're fighting at the moment, how does your career trajectory looking? Like, what? So, is it like sorry. So yeah, how's it looking at the moment? What's the plans going forward this next couple of years?
Next couple of years, yeah, like get into one from this tournament, fighting in one, get the world champion belt. Yeah, just like one. Yeah.
So let's get into that a little bit, because that's what I've been excited to speak about. Talk us through the road to one tournament. What's it about? How did it, how did you get the opportunity, and yeah, give us the update.
Yeah, so I mean, it comes back to Facebook again. There was news
Facebook's
on there
a lot for your
saying,
career.
I know.
Thanks, Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah, thanks. So they put news articles and people share it on Facebook, and that's how you see it. And I seen that one championship we're doing tournaments. There was a 52 kilo girl one and 2 male ones. And usually I fight like 49 kilos, but I was like, one championship starts at 52. So I was like, fuck it. Yeah. And then I told my boss, and he's like, all right, message Fairtex. And I messaged them, and I was like, said all my credentials, and I think he got like a lot of maybe Facebook messages. He didn't read it. And then Australia actually came to Thailand to fight on the Fairtex promotion. Do you guys remember that?
The infliction one, yeah.
Yeah, and one girl in Australia got sick, and they asked me to fill in for her. And I was like, yeah, sweet as. But I had a fight on Super Champ on the Sunday.
Yeah.
And then the fight was the next Saturday. And I said yes, but in Thailand, there's a rule, 14 days, you're not allowed to fight the big stadiums.
Yeah.
So the Fairtex people said to me, like, you've got to choose a fight. You can't do both. And I was like, well, I'm fighting on Super Champ in like 3 days. I've already said yes to them. I can't pull out. That's not nice. So I was like, unfortunately, I can't do it. And then I was like, oh, by the way, can I fight in the tournament?
While I've got you.
He's like, yeah, we've been thinking about asking you, but we're going to do, they weren't sure because there was only 8 spots.
Yeah.
But they're like, yeah, you're definitely considered. Maybe come fight for us one time, show us your skills, and we'll decide. So I did go fight for them, and I won that. And then, yeah, I was in the tournament. And yeah, so there's 8 girls. The contract winner gets 100,000 USD. Contract for 6 fights for one championship. Yeah. The first fight happened 2 weeks ago, I think. The next fight's in September 17.
Yeah, and it works through like a preset bracket. The dates are already organized, or they kind of take it as it comes. Yeah. Yeah, so you'll have to fight 3 fights. The first fight I won 2 weeks ago, and then there's a 5-week gap, and the next one, and then the next one.
Yeah, it's just it's good. It's an interesting path to take. Like the one championship. It seems to be like everyone's goal at the moment, which is like, hey, where the money is, isn't it? And where fights are happening as well, and you can do travel also, which is fun.
Yeah, because I mean, before like you couldn't earn money. Sorry, you couldn't earn any money from Muay Thai, especially like females. Well, you get like a certain amount from Super Champ, but by the time you pay everything yourself, you're left with nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And now, like, you can make a future with one championship. Before it was on the UFC, but that's MMA. And I don't know, like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do MMA.
So like the banging the small gloves, though.
Yeah, they're really fun.
You like the small gloves?
Oh, absolutely. I love boxing. So, they're sick. I love them.
No hand injuries so far?
No, I mean, it was a little bit of pain on my hand, but I'd rather it be on my hand than my face.
Do you change anything in your preparation? Like, do you have a little bang on the pads in the small gloves, or you just keep things as normal and chuck the little bangers on when it's time to fight?
So when I was fighting on hardcore, which is the same as Super Champ, like the same program, sometimes I would train in small gloves, and then sometimes on hardcore they'd literally ring me the day before and say, "Can you come fight tomorrow? Someone's pulled out." And I was like, "Yeah, all right, sweet." And I was training in big gloves. And then when I fought, like, it made no difference for me personally if I trained in the small gloves or big gloves.
Okay.
So I just train in 8 ounce.
I mean, like, I haven't fought in little gloves, but I would be reluctant to train in them. I'd rather just conserve my hands.
I think
when
so
I have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, because you can't get as much support from them, but guess it's like everything. It's like the more people get to do it, you just figure out better ways to kind of like combat that.
Yeah. Have little delicate hands.
Yeah, so I've been fighting in small gloves. I've been fighting small gloves for like 2 or 3 years, and this, as you said, like you just figure out what's good for you.
So, because there's a lot more opportunities for girls coming through, I imagine like or if maybe you've seen it, like a lot more females becoming maybe like foreign females coming through into Thailand. Do you find or from your opinion, do you think a lot of them find it hard to adjust to Thai training if they're from a foreign background? Have you seen a lot of girls starting to come through now?
It was very hard to say because before COVID, there was a lot of people.
Yeah.
Now there's only people just starting to come back, and there's no difference between a man or a girl coming and doing the training. I have not noticed. So no, I guess no.
And do you find, like, as your kind of profile grows, do you have a lot of people hitting you up for advice on getting over to Thailand, be it for a training holiday or to make it their life like you have?
Yeah, absolutely. I get messages all the time. People want to know like about money, like how much it costs to live here, or they want to know like, the training or the opportunities to apply, or like, how it is to live here. Yeah, I get a lot of messages like that.
And do you find there's kind of one central, maybe, is there any particular area you find foreigners looking to visit Thailand don't understand?
Could you say it again?
I mean, is there kind of one, is there anything major that really stands out as something you find foreigners before they come to Thailand don't understand, or any major misconceptions you find yourself repeatedly clearing up for people?
I'm not sure. Maybe like the running, maybe that's the only thing I can think of. Before I was at this gym, Singha Muay Thai, I would run maybe like 5 or 6 kilometers in the morning, maybe 3 in the afternoon. And people would always hear like you have to run 10 kilometers every morning. But the training's completely up to you. At my gym, they'll take you serious if you run the 10 kilometers. And I mean, ever since I've been there, I've run 10 in the morning, 3 before training afternoon, and another 2 after. So it's like 15 kilometers a day. So, I mean, you can look at my career now compared to what it was before. The running has definitely a big part of it. So I tell people that, what you put in is what you get out.
Yeah, so you're on board with the running?
Can you say it again, sorry?
As you're on board with the running, running's good.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I used to hate running. I couldn't even friggin' walk before, but now, run 15 kilometers a day.
Yeah. Is there does strength and conditioning play a big much of a part in your training? Like getting into the weight room, doing that? I saw on Instagram that you do a little bit from there.
Before I didn't do any weight training. I only had Thai trainers, and Thai people, they don't really know. They're traditionally not doing strength training. They might do a little bit of barbells at the end, and that's about it. And then recently, Holly, my strength coach, we've teamed up, and we've been doing strength training, and I definitely notice a difference, 100%.
Yeah, I think a lot of times, like we're seeing like a lot of girls come on the scene now, like just have that little bit more physicality paired up with the technique makes a huge difference in terms of like, if you got people like the same, like, experience level and same skill level, it seems that kind of gets you over the hump a little bit more.
Oh, absolutely. Especially with you when you're fighting high level Thais, like they have the experience, they've got the fights. Like you're not going to beat them with that. You need to beat them with strength. 100%.
And when you were sort of making that part of your game, did you find your gym were on board with it? Was there ever any kind of resistance? I know we often talk to foreigners who live in Thailand full time and they want to take on the strength and conditioning, but find it's a little bit of a sticking point with their Thai trainers. They want them on the pads and running. Was your trainers were always on board with you carving out some of your week for strength and conditioning?
Yeah, I mean, I could totally understand there is some trainers that are like, no strength training, it makes you slow and too big and blah 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 blah. But I came to my boss and I told him like, it's going to improve my career. I'll still run, I'll still kick pads, I'll still do everything. I just want to include it. And he said, yeah, sweet as. So I think the fact that I said I'll still do the other things, he said, okay. I mean, I still run before and train before and then do the strength work. And he's a bit more modern.
Yeah.
Like, I think before he wasn't, but I don't know, he's like, we're starting to get closer and he's a bit more understanding and not so stubborn. And he sees the results. Like, he sees my body transforming. So, he sees the results from it.
Well, I guess it's the same thing with like any kind of coach. Once you kind of establish, like, I guess this rapport, where like, you're like, I'm here doing the work, boss. It's like, that's not going to stop. Like, but I think like this little outside help can do that. It's like, it's like any good coach. So they go, all right, I think it helps. And then we test run it for a bit, looks good. Then, hey, keep it part of the program, as long as we're doing all the nuts and bolts work as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Like, and the fact that I think he's seen Fairtex were posting their girls were doing strength training maybe helped him as well. I was like, look, they're doing it. I'm gonna be fighting these girls. Why would I not do it? And he's like, oh my god.
Yeah, that's sound logic.
Yeah.
And so in terms of including that strength and conditioning, you mentioned kind of in the early going, it was like, I'm still going to do all my training. I'll just sort of work it in. Is there maybe a couple of mornings a week that you forego your standard Thai style training for strength conditioning, or do you sneak it in between sessions? I guess comprehensively including strength conditioning, what does a week look like for you?
Yeah, so my Thai trainer had actually taught me his stuff, like basic barbell stuff and pull-ups and stuff, and I do that after every session. And then 2 times a week after morning training, I'll go with Holly and do her strength training as well.
Yeah, and so your strength coach is based there full time too?
Yeah, she works here and lives here. She works at Tiger Muay Thai.
That's right.
She's a strength coach there, and she's amazing.
That's a great resource to have, because I do see a lot of people based there, they do a lot of their strength conditioning stuff online and just get it programmed and things like that. So it must be a real benefit to have your coach there with you.
Oh, absolutely. Because I have no experience. I have no idea what to do. So I'm so lucky she can teach me everything. And I think it comes back to also Muay Thai. Like, I started with nothing and then I was taught by the best, and then I can learn the right technique from the start, no bad habits. Because I mean, if I did the online stuff, I would have been doing everything wrong.
Yeah, me too.
Exactly. So you had a pretty recent forte coming back to Australia again to fight on Muay Thai League, correct? Yep. And like, how was that experience, like coming back to fight like on Australian soil, or like actually fighting on Australian soil as well? Yeah, how was that all experienced?
Am I allowed to talk the truth?
That's what we're all here for.
I appreciate them asking me. I appreciate everything. For anyone that's listening, like, I love Australia, love their program, love everything about them. But the truth is, I had really high expectations about everything. And when I did it, no disrespect to my opponent, she's very good, up to her. She just ran away the whole fight. It's such a disappointing. It's just I had so big expectations, and then she just ran away the whole fight, and it was just such a shit fight, and I worked so hard for it, and I didn't get to display that. It's just very disappointing.
So what kind of how did you see that fight playing out in your mind?
I thought it'd be like a lot more action. Yeah. I didn't think she'd run away. I mean, if it was in Thailand, it would have come completely different. Like, 100% would have been mine. The referee would have said, like, "The fuck are you doing? Stop fucking going backwards. You're here to fight, man, or you're here to running race."
Yeah, it's apparently like Kim Stowns says, like, you just gotta has that kind of like draw you in type of style as well. But it's like same thing. Like when you see a fight from there, it's pretty like action packed as well a lot of times. But I guess like she probably saw you fight, so it's like, look, this lady can bang, you know, and then she's usually a bit smaller, but hey, like it's unfortunate sometimes, but I guess it's how it rolls.
Yeah, I think her trainer said to her, okay, the way to win this fight is just run away. Don't let her touch you, and you can win. I don't know. When I fight, I just, I want to go in there and bang on, Don't run away.
Does that experience kind of put you off?
Yeah.
Do you accept other opportunities back in Australia, or you're pretty content to just do Thailand and one?
I'm content here. Yeah. I love it here. I mean, you come to fight, you come to fight.
Exactly. So when you like going at like, you know where you're going at the moment, like, you go for like, one championship in that. Do you see yourself like, after fighting, like staying on in Thailand as well, or is like coming back, having your own gym? Do you have any plans after fighting? You even thinking about that at the moment?
Yeah, I'm thinking about that. I would like to have a gym here with a family here and have a family gym. I don't mind if it makes a lot of money or not, but I just want to do it out of happiness and have like a Thai restaurant.
Oh, nice.
And just have a family. And I would come back to Australia and like have my own business and work like the big events like Sydney Royal Easter Show or Brisbane Show, and then come back to Thailand.
Yeah, I guess it's that's almost like coming full circle then, isn't it? From when you started, just like back when we started, but like with that extra like life experience under your belt, traveling abroad.
Yeah. So my roots would definitely be here, but I wouldn't forget about Australia.
So like mentioning that, like, you could kind of just come back and pick up your old work if you wanted
absolutely.
to.
Yeah. So I can work for my mum and dad, or I also have my own business. I sell Thai food in Australia. So I have that. I have a lot of opportunity. Yeah.
It's a good place to be.
Yeah.
So is cooking another passion yours then, is it?
Yeah. So my mum and dad, they sell strawberries and ice cream and chocolate, and I sell Thai food. So I really like cooking.
Is there any dishes in particular you favorite in Thai dishes?
Maybe Kanam Magop. It's like the crispy pork belly and vegetables. I really like that.
I'm with you.
It's good.
Yeah, this man can eat a ton of Thai food.
Yeah.
Really? Oh, yeah. You guys are going to come back over.
Yeah, I do need to go. I'm well overdue.
I just go find time. I don't do anything.
Yeah.
At the moment.
I don't have any children, so I can.
Yeah, me neither.
Fine. Just take mine. It's okay.
I can hop over to Thailand a little bit easier than you can.
Exactly. Is there anything else you want to ask?
Look, I'm always interested in speaking to someone such as yourself who's accomplished and has done the long-term Thailand thing. Is like looking at the time you spent there thus far, and considering you really did go over there with no experience, you were a blank canvas, so to speak. Is there one thing that stands out as if you could give yourself first going to Thailand one piece of advice with the experience that you have now? Is there anything that stands out that would be?
It would just be like whatever you want, you can accomplish. You got to put it in the hard work.
Yeah.
Anything's possible.
Exactly. I guess good things come to people that work for it, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Any insights for your upcoming match in the Road to One tournament? What can we expect from this fight? Are you studying up on your opponent in particular, or what's your approach like that? Just take it like any other?
So this girl, we've been scheduled to fight 2 times actually, and they fell through. So we definitely know each other. I fought her sister before.
Yeah.
And their family actually have 16 kids.
So many.
And they're all Muay Thai fighters. They all got the same mum and dad.
Yeah. The sisters were here in Australia a couple of months ago. Ida and Duang Dao Noi.
Yeah, so I'll be fighting Dao Dao Noi.
Yeah.
No,
really good fight, yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be sick. I'm excited.
What date's that on?
17 September.
17 September.
Mark your calendars.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it starts at 10 a.m. in the morning. So I think it'll be like 1 in the afternoon.
That sounds about right. Nice. Awesome. Cool. So at the moment, look, we appreciate you coming on. That was really great. Was there anything else that you wanted to like to touch upon as well? Or like, do you want to give your sponsors a shout out at the moment as well?
Just want to say thanks for what you guys are doing for the Muay Thai community. It's sick, especially Australians and everyone. Thanks for having me. And yeah, thanks to everyone who ever trained me, anyone who follows me in Australia, and just that you guys, yeah, whatever you guys want to do, you can do it.
Ah, nice. That's awesome. Cool. Yeah. So yeah, you always get behind your girl from there. She fights on road to one. So we'll, you can always catch us on the social medias, subscribe to our YouTube, give us rates, reviews, 5 stars on Spotify and that. And we'll catch you next time. Okay, guys?
See you soon.
Peace.